is Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. She is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee and chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee. Senator, it's great to have you. You've been to the border several times. Tell us what you're expecting when Title 42 goes away on May 11th.
We can expect now, with Title 42 expiring, to see this rapid influx of illegal migrants. And it is devastating, not just to those border states, but to all of our states. Even Iowa, right smack dab in the middle of the country, is experiencing fentanyl deaths to an unprecedented level.
What a shame. Senator, we're looking at incredible pictures of people lining up in Brownsville, Texas on Thursday of this past week, and it just appears that people are understanding that Title 42 is about to get lifted, and this is a time to come into America. What is going to be the impact here? How are you going to get your arms around this wildly out of control southern border?
Well, we can't. And the president knows that. And unfortunately, he has turned a blind eye to what's going on at the southern border. You barely hear a mention of that coming out of the administration. The secretary just recently said that the border is under control. It is laughable. This will be an impact to the border communities initially as they're trying to absorb all of these migrants. It is already a humanitarian crisis. It will increase exponentially next week. We will also continue to see the horrific trafficking of children, of minors, that sex trafficking, the slave labor that is being pumped into the United States. We will see continued drug trafficking, primarily of fentanyl and methamphetamine, that is devastating our communities. And then the follow-on repercussions. Many of these people, of course, they've been coached by the cartels to claim asylum. They will never show up in court. They will be turned out into the United States. They will not return for their court dates. They will carry on with illicit activity. It will create a huge crisis across the United States. Again, not just those border states, but every state.
Also happening next week, President Biden is going to finally meet with leaders from the House and Senate with the clock ticking on the debt ceiling deadline. Just weeks away. The White House says the president will be there, but he is not going to negotiate with Republicans at all for spending limits. What do you think happens here?
Well, and isn't this the president that said he would bring people together as a nation? And here he is saying, no, we're not going to come together. It's my way or the highway. And that is untenable. The American people, even a majority of Democrats, know and understand that we cannot continue to spend the way we have been spending. These poor, hardworking taxpayers are footing the bill for $32 trillion of debt. We cannot continue on this path. The president needs to wake up. He needs to work with Speaker McCarthy. I'm very proud of our House Republicans for putting forward their ideas, and I know that we'll work with them as it comes to the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is an issue that at some point markets will focus on and start trading lower if there's not a resolution, and that just adds to the pressure. Meanwhile, in the face of all of this, there are some serious charges against this president. Senator Chuck Grassley and House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer have sent a subpoena for that FBI document that a whistleblower says links President Biden directly to a criminal scheme involving money that he and his family took in for policy decisions that he made as vice president. The White House is refusing to comment on any of this, but Grassley is warning that the White House is now probably going to try to classify the document so that nobody can see it. Right now, it's an unclassified document. Will we be able to see this document that the Republicans say tie, and the whistleblower says ties Biden to this influence peddling scheme?
We need to make sure that the Department of Justice is following up on these allegations. We have to know the truth, and truth be darned. You know how the saying goes. Let's bring it forward. Let's let the American people see what those allegations are, the documents that point towards some criminal wrongdoing by the president. Let's let them evaluate as well. And let's make sure that the Department of Justice is actually following through. But again, kudos to Chairman Comer and Senator Chuck Grassley for working with this whistleblower and trying to bring these allegations to light.
Yeah, but Senator, what are we supposed to think about China rising, all of this bad behavior from a surveillance balloon traveling across of our country to surveillance TikTok, police stations in America, Chinese police stations, and yet Joe Biden has this soft approach to China. How are we supposed to assess this current situation?
Well, one, Joe Biden as president is an extremely weak leader. We are seeing our nation fall in its level of respect amongst fellow nations across the globe, and he is allowing every foreign adversary to walk all over us. It's everything from China and the spy balloon to Iran and these crazy nuclear negotiations that the president was engaging in. It is allowing Iran to continue to export oil without enforcing sanctions. There are so many issues where Joe Biden has been a very, very weak leader, and it's caused the decline in American leadership around the globe. We know that. Unfortunately, we need a stronger leader at this time, and it's quite obvious from these allegations with the whistleblower that Joe Biden is tied to so many of our foreign adversaries. I don't know that our nation can trust him at this point to do the right thing.
Yeah, Senator, we'll be watching it. Thanks very much for joining us today. We appreciate it. A wild week.